Me because I got ran over? Maybe that's why you want to pay me half?
How hard was the mental part of this?
It's like being alive in your own open casket. You know, you're watching people talk about your chance of survival, or is he going to be able to talk again?
I really was going to mind my business today. Like, seriously, I was. But then I heard something that completely threw me off guard. One of Marvel's original Avengers, Jeremy Renner, nearly died trying to save someone's life. He was crushed by a 14,000-pound snowplow. And after surviving all that, Disney tried to pay him half his salary to come back. Half. That's not just disrespectful, that's wild. Well, it turns out that decision has kicked off a chain reaction that's now threatening to bring down the entire Marvel empire. Because this isn't just some Hollywood contract drama, this is betrayal. And the heroes we all grew up cheering for? They're done staying silent. They're exposing everything. Jeremy Renner. You know him as Hawkeye, the grounded, arrow-slinging Avenger who brought heart and humanity to a franchise full of gods and monsters. But in 2023, real life came for him like no villain ever could. On New Year's Day, Renner was nearly killed after being run over by his own 14,000-pound snowplow while trying to save his nephew. 38 bones were shattered, his lung collapsed, his liver was pierced, he flatlined at the hospital, and yet, he survived.
Excruciating detail, those 5 seconds, that 14,000-pound machine crushed your body, and the 45 minutes of painful conscious breathing that you had to do until the paramedics arrived. Just give us a sense of that, a flavor of that moment.
What followed was nothing short of miraculous. Months of painful rehab, learning to walk again, rebuilding his strength step by agonizing step. And through it all, he never once counted himself out. He was ready to return as Hawkeye, ready to serve the fans who rallied around him, ready to give Disney the same commitment he gave in season 1. But when the offer came, it wasn't a comeback, it was a gut punch. Disney offered him half of what they paid him the first time.
Asked me to do a season 2, and they offered me half the money.
Oh, wow.
He even joked that maybe it was because he got run over. Maybe now that he's half a Jeremy, Disney thought it was fair to pay him half. It was a moment that was lighthearted on the surface, but beneath it, there was real pain.
Why? Did you think I'm only half the Jeremy because I got ran over? Maybe that's why you want to pay me half?
He wasn't asking for more. He wasn't cashing in on sympathy. He just wanted the same respect and the same paycheck as before. But Disney's accountants had other plans. Renner called them out directly, labeling them the penny pinchers.
This is not Marvel, mind you. This is like this Disney, not even really Disney. It's just the penny pinchers, the accountants. I told them to go fly a kite. I mean, just at the insult offer.
And that's when everything began to unravel. Renner's bombshell wasn't an isolated event. It was part of a pattern that's been growing for years. Take Carrie Coon, for example. She played Proxima Midnight, one of Thanos' elite warriors in Infinity War. Though her role was small, it was supposed to expand in Endgame. But when negotiations started, Disney reportedly refused to budge on pay. Coon's husband, acclaimed playwright Tracy Letts, said it bluntly. She asked for a raise but was flat out denied, then she declined. The message was clear.
The actress declined the sequel because the studio refused to increase her salary. According to Letts, Marvel told Carrie Coon she should feel fortunate to be included in the MCU at all, which isn't a great look for the comic book studio.
Massive box office success didn't guarantee fair compensation. And then there's Scarlett Johansson, one of the MCU's original pillars. After Black Widow was released simultaneously in theaters and on Disney+, Johansson's contract, based heavily on theatrical revenue, was undercut. She sued Disney for breach of contract.
Johansson sued because she was contracted to receive part of the film's box office sales, and she argued releasing that movie in theaters and on Disney Plus at the same time reduced her payment for the movie.
Their response? They publicly painted her as insensitive to the pandemic, weaponizing the global crisis to spin the narrative against her. Eventually, Disney settled out of court, but the damage was done. It wasn't just a financial dispute, it was a public divorce. A message to others. Disney doesn't just cut costs, they cut people loose. After Endgame, something shifted in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and fans felt it instantly. Chris Evans, gone. Robert Downey Jr., out. Jeremy Renner, quietly sidelined. On the surface, their departures were packaged as natural conclusions to decade-long journeys. Personal growth, new creative paths, but behind closed doors, a different story was brewing. Multiple insiders whispered the same thing. These actors were becoming too expensive. Disney, once willing to pay top dollar to keep the Avengers assembled, had begun calculating differently. Now, it was all about cutting costs and maximizing control. That shift wasn't just a rumor, it showed up in the fine print. According to Deadline, casting directors were given new instructions. No Tier 1 quotes. Translation? Don't even consider actors with A-list salaries. Back-end deals that rewarded stars based on box office success? Gone. Long-term multi-picture contracts? Phased out. Disney's new playbook was simple. Prioritize affordability over legacy. Replace iconic faces with newcomers who had talent, but not leverage. Build a new era where characters mattered more than the people behind them. And just when it seemed the studio couldn't get more calculating, the next twist changed everything. Imagine this. Hawkeye steps back onto the battlefield. The costume, identical. The voice, uncannily familiar. The face, every line, every scar perfectly replicated. But it's not Jeremy Renner, it's a synthetic copy, an AI-generated version. No contracts, no negotiations, no residuals. Sound dystopian? It's already happening. SAG-AFTRA, the union representing thousands of performers, sounded the alarm early. They fought to restrict studios from using AI to recreate actors without consent. After some studios tried to sneak lifetime likeness clauses into background actor contracts. And Disney, they've already dipped into this digital future. Remember young Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian? That wasn't Mark Hamill on set, it was a deep fake. A digital creation powered by AI and archival footage. A glimpse of what's possible and what's coming. The implications are chilling. If legacy stars like Renner, Johansson, or even Downey become too expensive, Disney now has the tools to sideline them without ever picking up the phone. Replace human talent with perfect digital replicas, cheap, controllable, and risk-free. It's not just a tech flex, it's a corporate roadmap. And for the people who built the MCU with blood, sweat, and soul, it's a quiet erasure in progress. In 2023, Bob Iger returned as Disney's CEO, and he didn't waste time showing what mattered most: the bottom line. His mission? Cut content, trim the fat, and boost profits. The result? Over $5.5 billion slashed from the content budget. Entire departments folded overnight. Writers, VFX artists, costume designers let go en masse. Beloved shows vanished from Disney Plus without warning, all in the name of streamlining. But not everyone felt the sting. Executive bonuses? Untouched. Iger himself pulled in tens of millions. And that stark contrast, the people who build the magic getting laid off while the executives cash in, wasn't lost on anyone. This austerity wasn't just felt in spreadsheets. It trickled all the way down to the very heroes who built the MCU. Jeremy Renner isn't just another actor, he's a founding Avenger. He risked his life, literally, and returned from the brink of death. He carried the character and the franchise with grit and grace. But instead of a hero's welcome, he got a lowball offer. The message? Even legacy doesn't guarantee loyalty. To the actors, it's demoralizing. To the fans, it's heartbreaking. You stuck with Disney for over a decade. You cheered, you cried, you showed up in costume for midnight premieres. But when the dust settled, the studio's message was clear. You're a number, and your loyalty doesn't make the balance sheet. The internet erupted in the aftermath of Renner's podcast interview. Fans didn't just listen, they mobilized. One top comment summed up the outrage. This guy literally brought Hawkeye to life. He played the character in 5 films and 2 different shows, yet they can't pay him a proper wage. They're basically saying he's not worth the money. When you aren't willing to treat the people who work for you well, you shouldn't be surprised if they don't stick around. Another fan on Twitter said, Jeremy Renner deserves a full salary for Hawkeye Season 2. After his accident, he deserves no less money than he got for the first season. Justice for Jeremy. But this wasn't just about money. It was about principle, about respect, about watching a studio that built its empire on beloved faces now turning its back on them. And fans, they weren't having it, not this time. And it's not just the actors on screen feeling sidelined. Behind the scenes, the people who actually created Marvel's most iconic characters have been fighting their own quiet war for recognition and control. In 2021, the estate of legendary artist Steve Ditko, co-creator of Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, alongside other creators' families, reportedly filed legal claims against Disney. Their mission? To regain copyright ownership over characters they helped bring to life, including Iron Man, Thor, Hawkeye, and Black Widow. The goal wasn't to sabotage Marvel, it was to be acknowledged, to be compensated fairly, to reclaim part of the legacy they helped build. Disney responded with a full-scale legal counterattack, suing the families in federal court and arguing that the characters were created under work-for-hire terms, meaning the company owns them outright. But by 2023, the lawsuits ended not in more battles, but in massive settlements. The exact figures remain sealed, but industry insiders confirmed the payouts were significant, and the settlement sent a clear message. Not even Disney's legal machine could erase the contributions of the artists who laid the foundation. Like Renner, these families weren't asking for handouts. They wanted recognition. They wanted fairness. They wanted to be seen. And once again, Disney's instincts weren't collaboration, they were confrontation. Since Renner spoke out, something has been quietly shifting behind the scenes. Industry insiders report that Marvel actors still under contract or bound by tight NDAs are watching closely, and some aren't staying silent anymore. Rumors are swirling around recent productions like She-Hulk, Moon Knight, and The Marvels. Reports suggest disputes over reduced episode orders, slashed budgets, and last-minute rewrites, all designed to cut costs. One producer even referred to it as cheap sequel syndrome, where the follow-ups are only greenlit if they can be produced for significantly less than the original. Behind the curtain, there's growing tension. Actors and creators who once felt part of a cinematic family now feel like expendable assets. One crew member anonymously told The Hollywood Reporter, "It's like we're being told to do more with less, and smile while doing it." And at the heart of it all, Jeremy Renner. His story isn't just about recovery or a bad deal. It's become a lightning rod for larger frustrations, about respect, loyalty, and how Hollywood treats its own. He may not have intended to start a movement, but if the reactions are any sign he already has. It's not just the cast walking away. Audiences are doing the same. And the signs are everywhere. Ant-Man and the Wasp. Quantumania opened with a promising $106 million, but collapsed by 69% in its second weekend, one of the steepest second-week drops in MCU history. Secret Invasion, once hyped as Marvel's next big streaming event, struggled to even crack the top 10 streaming charts in key international markets, according to data from Nielsen and Samba TV. But the numbers only tell part of the story. Variety obtained details from a leaked internal Disney survey that revealed something even more troubling. Viewers are starting Marvel shows, but they're not finishing them. Episodes are being abandoned halfway through. The binge-watching magic? Gone. People didn't fall in love with visual effects or multiverse charts. They fell in love with characters, with stakes, with stories that meant something. Now, it feels like a franchise chasing formulas instead of heart. And if Disney keeps ignoring what made the MCU special to begin with, they might just lose the very audience that built it. Disney wants you to believe everything's under control. New stars, new phases, a bigger, bolder future. But step behind the curtain and you'll see something else entirely. A slow, deliberate erasure of what once made MCU beloved. Hawkeye, Black Widow, Captain America, Iron Man. These weren't just characters, they were the heartbeat of the Infinity Saga. And now they're being written out, not because their stories are done, but because their paychecks got too big. The replacements? Talented, no doubt, but they come with a different price tag and a different kind of contract. cheaper, easier to manage, less likely to push back in negotiations, or demand a piece of the back end. The shift isn't personal, it's operational. This isn't a conspiracy, it's a spreadsheet strategy. A calculated pivot to control costs and increase margins, even if it means sacrificing the very people who made these stories matter. What we're witnessing isn't the next chapter in Marvel's evolution. It's a reboot with the soul ripped out. And unless things change, Disney might succeed in building a new universe, but it won't have the magic that made the old one unforgettable. Disney still has time to course correct. They could honor the very foundation they were built on by paying the original cast fairly, crediting the creators behind the icons, and choosing heart over hype. There's still a window to make things right. But the question is, will they? Or will they double down, trading legacy for algorithms and replacing beloved heroes with hollow holograms? Right now, fans aren't just watching, they're remembering. Remembering who made them fall in love with this universe in the first place. And they're asking if the studio still sees them as fans or just metrics. Because once trust breaks, it's hard to rebuild. And in a universe built on loyalty and connection, that break could be the one wound even the Avengers can't heal. So what do you think? Is this the beginning of Marvel's downfall? Or just a rough patch on the road to something new? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let us know which Avenger you think got done the dirtiest. Because if this is just the tip of the iceberg, what else is Hollywood hiding? Stick around, because this story, it's not over yet.